Buenas tardes a todas y a todos los que están aquí, los que no están, pero nos están siguiendo, porque estamos transmitiendo en streaming esta jornada. Quiero darles la bienvenida en nombre de todo el equipo que hacemos Casa Mediterráneo y agradecerles que hayan elegido este marco para iniciar este importante congreso que tienen ustedes. Les acogemos en una arquitectura singular de una estación que corrió el peligro de estar desaparecida, pero que se mantuvo con una rehabilitación para ser la sede de Casa Mediterráneo, que es un consorcio de diplomacia pública. No les voy a contar lo que hacemos, pero básicamente lo que hacemos es entendernos con una zona tan complicada como la cuenca mediterránea, que en el 1% de agua del planeta condensa 3 grandes continentes, 3 grandes religiones, todas verdaderas, 6 alfabetos, 66 lenguas, 15.000 kilómetros de costa depredada, un 20% más de contaminación que el resto de mares y océanos, supone el 40% de la población europea, el 15% de la africana y el 6,5% de la mundial. Soporta una guerra y ahora parece que solo una y parte de otra, y un Estado fallido, una frontera cerrada, y a pesar de eso, desde esta casa nos levantamos cada día por la mañana intentando que los pueblos dialoguen, dar a conocer España al resto de pueblos y al resto de pueblos a España, tratando de colocar las diferencias como enriquecimiento de la pluralidad y la diversidad que tenemos y las afinidades como elementos para entendernos y para intentar construir algo que, dicho en estos días, parece naif, pero es construir la paz, porque estamos convencidos de que solo desde el diálogo, el entendimiento, la afinidad y el respeto a la cultura y al sentimiento nacional de cada uno de los otros podemos construir la paz. En todo este rollo, ¿qué pinta la arquitectura? La arquitectura pinta mucho, porque nosotros dialogamos con escritores, con artistas, hacemos la misión de diplomacia pública a través de la diplomacia cultural y científica, dialogamos con equipos de arquitectos. Si han tenido ocasión de ver, hemos establecido en esta semana, que es Alicante-Orán, que hemos ido abordando distintas etapas de la afinidad con Orán, que es la ciudad más alicantina de Argelia y Alicante la más oraní de España. Pues empezamos la semana justamente estableciendo afinidades arquitectónicas y establecimos una exposición que han podido ver ahí, en el que hacemos la similitud de arquitecturas de las dos ciudades, con mayor o mejor mantenimiento cada una de ellas, pero con una historia compartida que dialogan entre ellas y que se pronuncia y lanza al futuro su historia a través de la arquitectura. Por eso la arquitectura también es un instrumento para nosotros, más allá de los temas que van a tratar en este congreso, ¿no? Los sistemas constructivos, los materiales. Quiero yo dar la bienvenida tanto a la gente que estudia como a los que son arquitectos ya consagrados o los que están en ejercicio, a la gente que me acompaña en esta mesa. El señor Malaque Matius, que es presidente de ICAT, don Salvador Iborra, colaborador de la Casa Frecuente, que es vicerrector de infraestructuras y muchas más cosas de la Universidad de Alicante, a don Pablo Moreno, que es secretario del Colegio de Arquitectos, y a todos aquellos que fabrican materiales o que los proveen y que por tanto están en ese elemento que nosotros valoramos tanto de la arquitectura. Fuera de esos temas tan concretos, nosotros valoramos la arquitectura, como les he dicho, como también un elemento de diálogo entre sociedades y entre civilizaciones, y también como un elemento estructurante de la tranquilidad de las sociedades, porque si todos estos materiales nuevos que inventan y todas estas formas constructivas nuevas las dedican en tanto que responsables de un mundo de belleza y de la creación de un futuro habitable para los ciudadanos, las dedican a generar construcciones en el que la gente se siente identificada no como una colmena, sino como algo singular, en el que se pueda consolidar, si me lo permiten, yo soy muy romántico para algunas cosas, un cierto derecho a la belleza que algún día tendríamos que consagrar, y yo creo que si algún día se ha de consagrar un derecho a la belleza de los ciudadanos, tienen que ser los arquitectos los que estén en la base de ese derecho a la belleza y de esa generación de serenidad social en una época convulsa de sociedades. ¿Y cómo se consigue? Pues con viviendas donde, de mayor o menor prestancia, con mejores o peores materiales, uno pueda sentirse singular en la suya, no encuentre grandes viviendas donde luego no tiene la salida ni un parque ni ver un árbol a muchos kilómetros de distancia, sino que se sienta como la calle, la plaza, el jardín es una prolongación de su vivienda con la que se siente identificado y que le provoca una cierta estabilidad emocional, una cierta serenidad social. No estoy hablando de psicología, estoy hablando de arquitectura, que tiene que ver desde mi punto de vista, y soy un profano porque yo soy abogado penalista, o sea, he vivido siempre el derecho del mal, de que la gente se se porte mal para poder comer nosotros. Entonces, porque se portan bien, desaparece el derecho penal. Por eso cuando alguien dice que sea la gente buena, bueno, que sea buena, pero tampoco tanto, no vaya a ser que nos quedemos sin profesión. Pero ustedes no viven del derecho del mal, viven de crear belleza, de crear construcción, de inventar materiales nuevos que puedan tener las casas mayor habitabilidad, mayor confortabilidad, mayor frescura. Bueno, todo eso está en la base también de la convivencia. Si uno vive en un sitio donde está tranquilo, donde se siente confortable, donde se siente tranquilo, es bien seguro que se va a llevar mejor con los vecinos del edificio y de la calle de al lado, que si la vivienda en la que está le provoca absoluta intranquilidad, que abre una ventana y no ve ni el aire, que solo da un deslunado además manchado y no. Eso siempre que lo hablamos aquí, que además tenemos un director adjunto que es un arquitecto ortodoxo en el sentido de que mira las formas, que valora mucho la estética y la belleza, y siempre nos riña hasta cuando ponemos un vinilo en la pared, porque dice que eso genera una alteración de la transparencia de la casa. Nos educa un poco en eso y la verdad es que lo hemos comprendido porque para nosotros, les digo, la arquitectura no es ajena a nuestra misión de entendimiento con el resto de la gente. Bueno, dicho todo esto, que me apetecía en un mundo de arquitectos, porque en esta semana estamos teniendo todos los mundos posibles. Esta mañana hemos hablado de puertos, ayer hablamos de cooperación científica, antes de ayer de afinidades arquitectónicas, mañana hablaremos de cine y pasado tendremos una diva que canta las bondades de la música andalusí, argelina, para hacer Lila Borsali, para cerrar la semana. Es lo que tiene de interesante esta casa, que nunca se repiten las mismas cosas y que aparece gente que te enseña mucho. Bueno, por dicho esto y agradeciéndoles de nuevo que estén aquí y agradeciendo también a la persona que va a dar la conferencia después, el señor Iñaki Ábalos, que es un lujo para nosotros y yo creo que para ustedes tenerle en esta casa, porque es una transferencia de conocimiento que será muy útil para todos. Pues le quiero dar la palabra a don Salvador Iborra, que como os he dicho es vicerrector, yo siempre digo vicerrector de infraestructuras y muchas cosas más, pero creo que con eso ya lo identificamos, que se dirigirá ahora mismo a ustedes para seguir abriendo esta jornada. Muchas gracias.
Andrés, muchas gracias en primer lugar por acogernos a la Universidad de Alicante en tu casa. Siempre es un verdadero placer venir aquí a hacer actividades porque ponéis todos los medios, toda la ilusión y desde luego este espacio entrañable. Gracias por parte de la Universidad de Alicante. Y, como no, agradecer a todos los profesores de arquitectura, al Departamento de Construcción y a muchos otros que se organicen ese tipo de actividades. Sin duda, ponemos en valor la Universidad de Alicante en la ciudad de Alicante, enseñando la cantidad de cosas y el trabajo que hacéis vosotros. Yo he tenido la suerte de poder ir viendo algunos de los trabajos que habéis hecho y son sorprendentes, ¿eh? Desde luego, unos estudiantes de tercero o cuarto que tengan ya la capacidad de preparar estos paneles con esos detalles constructivos y que lo expongáis con esa naturalidad en inglés, sin ningún problema. Las palabras salen como salen, a veces mejor, a veces peor, pero desde luego con esa naturalidad, pues solo hace hablar en positivo a la ciudad de Alicante de la formación que vuestros profesores os están dando, ¿eh? Enhorabuena por ese maravilloso trabajo que habéis hecho. Y también, como profesor de la escuela, me siento súper orgulloso que todos los profesores están aquí con vosotros. O sea, es algo que en mi departamento a lo mejor no es tan fácil, ¿eh? Y aquí están todo el mundo implicado, todo el mundo empujando a que la escuela, el departamento y arquitectura esté presente en la ciudad de Alicante de una manera importante. Tener a un conferenciante como el que tenemos hoy, pues ya es el orgullo total en la escuela y en la universidad. Muchas veces se me va la palabra escuela porque soy de allí, pero sin duda hoy vengo como vicerrector de la universidad. Y bueno, estar en este espacio diáfano, donde tiene toda una historia, tiene esas luces, tenemos la cubierta que podemos ver histórica, que luego la hemos replicado un poquito más moderna en la estación de Alicante, pero no tiene nada que ver con estas cerchas que tenemos aquí, pero sí la misma geometría, pero mucho más feas y mucho más... aquí las cosas que trabajan a tracción y se ve claro que trabajan a tracción, y las cosas que trabajan a compresión también las vemos porque son un poco más gordas, porque tienen que absorber el pandeo. Por lo tanto, pues bueno, nos encontramos con que el espacio también envuelve a la arquitectura que vosotros estáis sin duda mejorando, porque esas presentaciones que habéis hecho con estudios energéticos, fachadas al oeste, fachadas al este, qué soluciones constructivas le vais a dar, es sorprendente, y solo os puedo dar la enhorabuena a vosotros y también a vuestros profesores, que son los que os están enseñando que podáis hacer eso, ¿eh? Nada más, le devuelvo la palabra a Andrés.
Pues muchas gracias, Salvador, por tus palabras. Y en todo caso le daría la palabra. Muy bien, pues después de este agradecimiento que el público te manifiesta, le daría la palabra al señor Malaque Matthews, que es el presidente de ICAT y que va a dirigirse a nosotros.
There will be less words, but they will be packed with meaning. On behalf of the board of ICAT, I want to thank you for this very warm welcome here today. And I want to thank you all for your tremendous support of ICAT, the International Congress on Architectural Technology. This is our 11th year, and we are growing with every conference that we have. And we are under the expert guidance of our fantastic conference chair, Dr. Antonio here. And we're looking forward to a wonderful weekend of learning, of experience, and of meeting new people. And that is the core of what ICAT is about. Thank you very much.
Bueno, pues terminada la apertura que damos por hecha, vamos a retirarnos y empezar la conferencia, ¿no? Va a hablar Pablo ahora.
Yo traigo una pequeña chuleta.
Pues Pablo, como te tenemos tan en la casa, pensamos que ya forma parte de la estructura de la casa. O sea, que puedes hablar. Es que lo vemos todos los días.
Muy buenas tardes a todos, señor presidente de Casa Mediterráneo, autoridades académicas, queridos colegas, profesores, estudiantes y amigos. Es un honor, permitidme que lo lea porque lo hemos redactado entre el presidente y yo, a quien esta tarde estoy sustituyendo y prefiero no dejarme nada en el tintero. Y luego le comentaré en inglés al presidente lo que estoy diciendo aquí. Es un honor y un privilegio darle la bienvenida en nombre de la Universidad y el Colegio Territorial de Arquitectos de Alicante al evento de estudiantes y a la conferencia inaugural del Congreso Internacional de Tecnología de la Arquitectura ICAT 2025. Hoy, una vez más, nuestra ciudad se convierte en el epicentro del conocimiento, la innovación y el compromiso con un futuro más sostenible y resiliente. El lema de este congreso, edificaciones adaptadas al cambio climático, refleja la urgencia de transformar nuestra manera de concebir, proyectar y construir. El cambio climático ya no es una amenaza lejana, es una realidad que impacta directamente en el entorno construido. Por ello, tenemos la obligación moral de liderar la adaptación de nuestros edificios, no solo para mitigar su huella ecológica, sino para garantizar espacios saludables, eficientes y capaces de resistir los desafíos ambientales que enfrentamos. Los arquitectos tenemos mucho que decir y la tecnología y los sistemas constructivos innovadores son el camino. Desde el Colegio Territorial de Arquitectos de Alicante hemos ayudado a que este congreso sea una plataforma de intercambio de ideas, de experiencias y soluciones. Nuestra colaboración con la Universidad de Alicante es fundamental para el futuro de la profesión y siempre estaremos a vuestra disposición cuando se nos necesite. Estamos muy contentos de tener hoy con nosotros a una de las figuras más importantes del panorama arquitectónico nacional, como es Iñaki Ábalos, del despacho Ábalos Sienkiewicz. Ello ha sido posible gracias a nuestros aliados de Newker. Alicante, con su rica historia, su diversidad cultural y su compromiso con la sostenibilidad, es el lugar ideal para albergar este encuentro. Nuestra ciudad ha sido testigo de transformaciones urbanísticas significativas y sigue apostando por un desarrollo que respete el medio ambiente y promueva la calidad de vida de sus habitantes. Quiero agradecer a todos los organizadores, ponentes, patrocinadores y participantes por su dedicación y esfuerzo. Este congreso es el claro resultado de la colaboración y del trabajo en equipo. Para terminar, os deseo a todos una experiencia muy enriquecedora y productiva. También que este congreso sea el punto de partida para nuevas ideas, proyectos y alianzas que nos acerquen a un mundo más habitable y respetuoso con nuestro entorno. Muchas gracias y bienvenido al ICAT 2025.
Bien, pues ahora, terminado ya todas las intervenciones, sí que vamos a desalojar para que el señor Ábalos hubiera que presentarle también. Sí.
Pasamos la palabra al representante de Newker y hará una presentación un poco más detallada de Iñaki Ábalos.
Pero el señor Ábalos tendrá que subir.
Buenas tardes. Y luego Ábalos sube aquí. Sí.
Sí, de subir ahora mismo.
A ver.
Hola, sí. Buenas tardes a todos. Buenas tardes a todos los presentes en este 11º Congreso Internacional de Tecnología Arquitectónica ICAT 2025 Alicante. Es un honor para mí representar a la empresa Nuclear, una empresa con una sólida trayectoria como fabricante y proveedor de material cerámico, estar hoy aquí con todos ustedes presentes. Nuclear nace en el 2012 con un compromiso con la economía circular. Este compromiso queda reflejado con nuestro DAP. Nosotros pertenecemos a un grupo de empresas con presencia en los sectores de la automoción, la cerámica e inversiones. Trabajamos con pasión y un firme compromiso con la innovación y la calidad. Aportamos durabilidad, bajo mantenimiento y diseño innovador, ofreciendo cerámica de calidad. En Nuclear entendemos que la cerámica es mucho más que un simple material de construcción. Es un elemento clave en la creación de espacios que inspiran, perduran y reflejan una visión de arquitectos y diseñadores. No quiero enrollarme más, vamos a darle protagonismo al señor Iñaki Ábalos. Voy a hacer un breve resumen de su currículum. Ábalos Senkiewicz, estudio internacional de arquitectura fundado en 2006 por Iñaki Ábalos y Renata Senkiewicz, con sedes en Madrid, Cambridge, Boston y Shanghai. Su enfoque combina el rigor técnico con una sensibilidad medioambiental, integrando arquitectura, paisaje y sostenibilidad en lo que dominan belleza termodinámica. Han sido reconocidos con más de 40 premios internacionales, entre ellos expuestos en el MoMA de Nueva York y la Bienal de Venecia. Un fuerte aplauso, señor Iñaki.
A ver si consigo. Vamos a ver. Hay que mirar, hay que ver aquí y aquí. Bien, muchísimas gracias. Realmente debo decir que no me esperaba dos cosas. No me esperaba estar dando una charla en el edificio al que le di yo el premio, de Manolo, buen amigo, por cierto, y un magnífico arquitecto, y es un placer. Y desde luego no me esperaba tanta audiencia. Creía que venía al Colegio de Arquitectos. Lo que pasa es que ya ando zumbado, ¿no? Pero bueno, pero mejor así, mucho mejor. Y muchísimas gracias por la invitación. Estoy encantado de estar aquí de nuevo. Bueno, I have to speak in English, ¿no? Okay. Well, I have forgotten that. Okay. So I have chosen a project that is only one project. I'm going to speak about one thing, and it's not built. But I want to explain all the complexity of a process of a big project in a foreign country, especially in China, which is the language is a problem, the climate is absolutely complex, and let's say the competitivity of American Anglo architects and from other countries, Japan, etc., is terrible nowadays. So it's really complex to survive in this context, but at the same time, has some virtues that we don't have in Spain. They don't have the architect doesn't have a civil responsibility. Is the engineer, so they decided to divide. I mean, it's much more rational. So everyone works on the issue that he or she knows well. I mean, the problem that we have in Spain with this is I think it's terrible. The more we enter into new ways of understanding technology, the less capacity we have as architects to understand, to manage, and to survive with this kind of regulations that we have. Anyway, this is one of the reasons why we are working in Shanghai, by the way, because it's very, I mean, they want your design. They want, obviously they consult you, the materiality, the construction, the structure, but you are a consultant. You are not the responsible, which is a huge difference. Well, and this is, I don't know if I will, yeah. I have brought for you some few of these, 3 or 4 of these texts. I'm going to talk about the Dongguan Binhai Cultural District. And something that is important when you will see that it's a big one. It involves a lot of things. And something to not get lost in the nightmare of many things together. We try always to write some sentences so we understand ourselves what we are doing. Sometimes they are lost completely because you have to manage many things: landscape, thermodynamics, climate, client, etc. So the project developed by Avalos and Kiewicz, AS+, for the Dongguan Binhai Cultural District is an innovative technical, cultural, and environmental composite that orchestrates natural and industrial resources, combining them to create a natural and artificial spaces that are comfortable all year round, and the climate is heavy there, through the strategic use of forms, materials, orientations, and enclosures, both above and underground. This district becomes the most advanced and sustainable environmental experience, highlighting the outstanding creativity of the local photovoltaic and glass industries. These last words are written because Dongguan is the #1 in the world in photovoltaics and glass. All the complex glasses that you see, curved surfaces made by raincoats, etc., all of them come from Dongguan. Dongguan, no one knows the city. It's a 14 million inhabitants city. So it's a serious city that is very close to Shenzhen, very close to Hong Kong, and very close to the other side to Macau. Yeah. Well, the group that for this competition, the group that we had is very simple. All of these are architects. Renata, I am here, and Liu Yishun. Liu Yishun is a wonderful architect, one of the best architects in China. He's a professor in Tongji University also. And Su Chang is a young, he was a student with Renata and with me in different years at the GSD at Harvard. And then he went to Hong Kong and is now someone that is winning small competitions and someone that is very, very efficient in many ways. So this was the basic stuff that began, we just called Liu Yishun. He said, we have been invited to this competition. Do you want to join? It was fantastic, and that's it. And we began with this. And as we have some experience there, we wanted to have also a good group of technicians with us, especially experts in climate. And we normally work with Matthias Schuller, that is probably the most, Transsolar is the most famous company that is now in Germany, in Shanghai, in New York, and in 2 or 3 places more, I don't remember. And we also involve all the other persons that I will talk later on them. Well, this is the site. All this is new, especially this is a project goes like up there and here. This is a bridge that exists, and this is a master plan, very generic master plan, very generic master plan that is pretended to locate 2 million people living there. I think they are crazy. There is a marina with a new ferries terminal that connects with Hong Kong and Shenzhen, etc. A stadium, Olympic stadium, a lot of towers, and a huge, very dense space. And I don't know if I have a pointer. Is there a pointer? No. Creo que lo apagó. Well, anyway, and then you see the red square is the place where they gain to the water, where they want to plan a cultural district that is more than a cultural district. It's very complex, but it was the focus of the competition. This is the site. The site is water. I mean, it's becoming drier and drier, but it's still like water. No? And here you see architectural design scope. This is the cultural district, the urban. I mean, the bridge is the only thing that you can recognize a bit. And well, they are drying it. It's almost finished now. And this is the bridge that is, let's say, the most iconic. It's not a kind of nice city. It's a very industrial. If you have an aerial view, you only see factories covered with solar panels, so photovoltaic panels. And this is the site that they think is the most beautiful, because, I mean, every Chinese is in love with sea, water, navigation, etc., etc. There's a lot of fantasies about water in their culture, and this is just the only place where the city now is to the right side of this walkway, and this will be the view over the new land. Yeah, and I think that. Do you mind if we can close only this curtain, only this one? Because do you mind? If it is possible, I don't know. Yeah, I think it's better, no? Thank you. Great. Well, and so I'm going to explain how we work in this context, which is not the usual thing in Spain. First of all, because of the scale. Second, because of the language. And third, because many other technical issues. No, but so cities comparison. I mean, it's very, very simple. We know Macau. We've been working in Macau years ago. We know Guangzhou. We didn't know Dongguan. We knew Shenzhen, and we know very well Hong Kong. Is the place where normally you have to go when you fly, and we were trying to understand the way all of these cities have been doing a kind of cultural districts that are commercial also, and offices spaces, and that have created a character for each of these cities. So we discovered that ours was obviously much more big than we understood at the first moment, because, I mean, we haven't paid attention to the fact that 2 million people were going to live there. And so our process, the most simple thing, is first of all, inspiration. No? When we read, let's say, the syllabus of the competition, we knew that water was, the sea was quite important, and there are a lot of fantasies in the Chinese tradition in relationship with sea and water, and all this. They have also the lanterns. I mean, it's too much light here. I mean, I think that you don't see well this anyway. But if we can take out this, more these lights, no. In the first row, it's a pity, because, I mean, the details, I don't know. No? But the streaming will see nothing. Anyway, don't worry. We are Spaniards. We adapt to everything. So, well, there are like dragon boats. It's very similar to the Noel arc, no? But we are lanterns that, you know, all these traditions and holidays that are celebrated with this kind of floating lights. And the boats, the sailing boats. The sailing boats were a beautiful invention, more in Hong Kong than in other places, but it was the way Hong Kong became really rich, because they were beginning with the commerce of the whole area through these beautiful things. So we thought that it was interesting to have some knowledge and some understanding of this kind of cultural traditions, because somehow they are much more respectful with them than we are with ours, in general terms. No? So they are serious with tradition. And then the other thing, and I'm not going to explain this because it's a nightmare, the climate. The climate is terrible. It's really bad in the sense that it's super hot, super humid, and has. I mean, you cannot have a single season that you can enjoy the weather. You can enjoy if you are Chinese, probably, but a kind of European is sleeping the whole day. I mean, it's terrible. And this was the front of the sea, so there is no way to escape to the humidity. But it's not exactly that. So if you have to see, there are some charts. Let me see if I have to do. Yeah, okay, there are some charts for specialists that give you some kind of recommendations for specific areas and for the specific moments of the year. No? So there is a previous. So after the inspiration, so to speak, comes the study, to study seriously and consult the experts in let's say, the techniques that they have to create kind of interesting conditions for the habitability. No? Yeah. And third thing that we thought is, if this is the city of the world with more factories, and the factory type has been so much transformed in the last decades in the States, obviously, but also in Europe, in Spain, in Italy, and so many other countries, has become a typology that is wonderful for, let's say, cultural activities, museums and exhibitions, etc., etc. There is a kind of, here we have some, in the London, in Switzerland, in the north of New York, etc., etc. All of them have been successful. There is something magic with the scale and the free plan of these buildings that we thought that could be a kind of homage to the city, to say, factories doesn't need to be so ugly. Well, then there is a program, next analysis. The program was a mess. It has everything. I mean, it was, first of all, translating it, understanding what they mean with key names, etc. But basically, has the most important thing is the library, the art center, that are the cultural area, which is basically the annex to the library, and a small science, well, small comparatively, a small science and technology museum. These were, let's say, the programs that needed to be explicitly organized, but they didn't want, and they insisted very much on this. They don't want you to replicate, to mimic these charts. They just want to say, this is the part that we can put numbers on it, but the building comes with a different purpose, a different scale, etc., etc. So there was a moment that we were thinking about what I'm trying to explain quickly the process. The beginning is always very difficult, because if you make a mistake, then you are lost. We were trying to understand what to do with all these things. A city that is in front of the sea, that has a huge commercial activity, that has a kind of authority as a wonderful place in the world, that has a climate that is, let's say, almost tropical, etc. And there is one that is, we all know, that is Venice, that is wonderful, and has all this made 5 centuries ago, still is the #1 cities for touristic visits, and it's made, I mean, this space is very simple. One long building that is it's bureaucratic, it's for everything, it's just a kind of generic building. There is a tower. I mean, they had to combat the pirates and the people that wanted to take the money of the Venetian people. So the tower is not just a kind of mystic thing. It's just a tower where they could see the ships coming from a long distance. So it's a military tool. And then the wonderful basilica, the church, if you want to call it like this, that has a kind of completely different geometry, that is very rich inside, that has all the things that they don't have, flat, straight, high, and then the other is a kind of mess of volumes, vaults, domes, golden finishing, etc., etc. No, it's a kind of magic space, and we thought this is a good starting point. No? And in fact, the first presentation, because we had to make many presentations, like 5 presentations along the process. And the first presentation was with this, and they were, they liked it a lot that we were mimicking Venice. We were not mimicking Venice, but at least the metaphor was okay. Well, but this is, I don't know if you see anything. I don't see anything. Anyway, these are thousands of, we draw. I mean, we basically draw, have a paper and draw, boom, boom, many papers, boom, boom, boom. So we are very traditional in methods. And we had like 20 of these kind of tables like this, full of drawings, deciding and discussing. And they were easy, very easy, very quick tools. So you just make drawings, make photos, send it to China. Liu Yisun and Su Chang see them, we have a short conversation, and we continue. So almost every day was like this for 2 months, probably. And we began to have, like, you don't see here anything. We began to do two organizations, but I prefer to show you this. This is the site. The site in, that we had here to the left. I'm showing this. I'm trying to show this. Is the first one. Has the terminal of ferries in the sea, a tower, the offices for the terminal, the axe that comes from the whole neighborhood that is planned, and the metro station is this kind of circle. And then there are other other 2 in this way. And this is the front of the sea. And they had a master plan organized for this area, which is the most bureaucratic, is offices and residential. And they had a master plan that was okay. And they preferred not to touch it too much. That was exactly what they were saying. So, because they had good people. I mean, they were good urban planners, and they know what they're doing. So we had some kind of differentiation in between the first and the second. But the most important is that you don't see, that probably you don't see, is that is this that we chose this scheme, that is a park and a park. Different parks, both sides, and an axe in the middle with a huge library, a lantern, and an icon, what they call an icon. That's all. I mean, it took us, I think, 1 year and a connection to the neighborhood, and a connection from the metro to the sea, to the corner of the sea. No? This is, I think it's very easy to understand, but it took us a lot of time and discussions. And this is the organization in that it's very, very close to our final presentation. The ferry terminal is the number 1 with the tower. I will explain it. The library, the cultural factory, as we call it, or the dragon boat. So the cultural factory is the dragon boat. The science and technology, which is the number 3, is the lantern. The 4th is the icon, and the number 1 is the sailing tower. So it seems stupid, but to find a way to reduce all the complexities to 4 different buildings made with different materials and for different purposes took us a lot of time, no? Because we had to discuss all these things. No? At the beginning, they said, it has to be more homogeneous. And we said, no, it has to have different scales, different purposes, different programs. If you make all of them just one big factory, you are destroying the site. No? So, and they understood step by step. No? And the other thing that was important for us, these are not like nice drawings, but they are very, very efficient. The other thing that was important for us is that normally in China, everything that is commercial is underground and is completely separated for the rest of programs. So there's a kind of, and we said, for this climate and for this purpose, the interchange, so somehow eliminate the discontinuity among the commercial and the cultural would give a kind of much better performance in climatic terms, and at the same time will be much more attractive, because depending on the day or the hour you are using the place, it will be much more interesting to be up or down. No? So, and they were okay with that. So I will begin with the first project. The first project was the ferries terminal and sailing tower, because we thought it was interesting to really try to understand the scales, and it was somehow a way to test our communication with the client. This is the image. The thing, well, the ferries terminal is there, the tower is there, and this sketch, handmade sketch, just says, I mean, the sailing tower, the tower for the terminal should have a lot of things that the industry of water knows. I mean, the same geometry, the use of the wind to favor to eliminate heat exposition to the sun, etc., etc. No? So it doesn't mimic let's say literally the industry of the ferries, but in many ways is parallel to that and learns from that. No? And so we made, I'm not going to enter into this, but it was complex, but they liked it a lot, this scheme, by the way, because it simplified more than they expected, the organization of and I think this is the first thing they are going to build, is this one. And this is the scheme, the first scheme that we made, very simple, for the tower. And I made this text: buoyancy and stack effect become the most efficient passive techniques in indoor spaces during the months, thank you, of fall, winter, and spring, while in the monsoon season there are other techniques to condition office spaces. These are offices. Buoyancy means to use chimneys that work based in the stack effect, then the heat goes up, to take out the air heated by the human activity. At the same time, new fresh air, treated air, is entering in the lower parts of every floor of the building with this facade. This use of buoyancy means that vertical constructions can be much more efficient than low traditional structures, as the difference of pressure is a function of the height itself. Well, sorry. Okay. Well, here you see much better, no? Let's say the similarity and the geometry. Even the place where the tower is placed is a kind of water garden. So there is a kind of clear intention of mimicking the relationship of the ferries and the relationship of the tower with, and you see a little bit of the rest of the areas to the north. This is the detail of the facade, and the ground floor are surrounded by water, and how the sky lobbies are also ways to enter fresh air, new air, and makes with a stack effect to introduce a kind of natural ventilation in different weather conditions. Well, this is the best, the most clear and simple thing that we made, but it's for us was very important to resolve the first of all what was more practical for the client, the ferries terminal, and the relationship with the sea, which were, I mean, if we tested with them, they like it a lot. I think it's the place of the project that they became in love with us somehow. You know? Then we went into in the second part, the cultural factory. Okay. ¿Qué pasa ahora? Mierda. I don't know what. I am not touching it. If someone is, if you want, you come here and explain the. Anyway, let's go. Yeah, the cultural factory. Let's go to the second and most important. It was the most obvious complex program, and we decided to put it in the center, and this was key. Why? Because, I mean, it's very simple. You see that the green stuff in the north part is north-south oriented. It's like a kind of a complex with trees, a forest somehow, while the other is just green words. Very, because of the typhoons. I mean, the typhoons are super heavy there. You cannot have trees in the first row because they just fly. But we could invent this kind of pergolas that one connected to the other creates an structure that is much more static and much more controlled. So because the columns are steel beams. So this was let's say the way we understood that natural elements were equilibrating artificial elements and vice versa. No? And the building in the center is a very simple geometric structure. At the center you have the library, and to the left you have one part of the building, and to the right another one. While the icon, I will explain this kind of mesh, the complex mesh, later on, and the other one. Yeah. This is the cultural factory. Here you see, well, why, I mean, this is pergolas create structures that are stable against typhoons, and they were calculated, etc. I'm not going to bore you with that. And the building stays like very monumental, very straight on, and it separates from the, let's say, the urbanism of the residential and offices spaces up to the north, the forests, and the green words. No? It's like a kind of simple organization that can adapt to the climate conditions at the same time that can create differentiation, because the space is really big. I mean, so the differentiation is important. If you are, and you need to have this open in different weather conditions. So you have to be able to manage all these things, not only for climatic issues, but also for the functioning of the place as a really cultural area. No? Yeah. So, well, I mean, this is the. I'm going to be very synthetic. I mean, this was worked for different, especially by Su Chang, one of our colleagues. He was super concentrated on this and made a wonderful work, because they wanted to create different islands, and they had different characters. I'm not going to enter into that. It was a very complicated thing. Also, the park that is there to the right, separated, that we have just taken out, is connected to all the main streets with this kind of zigzag main path, and has like a kind of different character than the north and the south. It's more for jogging, it's more for the elderly, for the young kids, etc., etc. Yeah. Boy, esto es una locura, ¿no? I don't know what it happens. Well, I mean, this is, you begin to see some views of the new city that is there. and well, anyway, these are 2 floors of the library, the cultural factory. The left side is I can call it a city museum. They like a lot the cities. Every big city has a museum of the city, along the history, with videos, models, and also discussions. I mean, the urban planning is a kind of a cultural activity that is important in this culture, especially in Hong Kong, in Shanghai, and now we hope that here. And this is a ground floor that is super, as you can see, is super open, and it's open to the basement, and it's open to the upper part. But the they are different, left and right, not because they have a circle and a pentagon, but because this one is about the city, and the pentagon is about having a kind of climatic refuge along the year. It's open for children, for young kids, for senior, for couples, for whatever, tourists, locals. It was a kind of capacity so the whole idea was wherever the climate is every single day of the year, you can spend a wonderful, complete day there, alone, in couples, with family, with children, with whatever. So it's a kind of exercise that is quite complex. And this is more or less the one fragment. This is the fragment of the cultural factory and this other Pentagon area. You always have these streets that connect north and south. And obviously we have, these are, I mean, aluminium. They are the kings of aluminium in China, so they had to have aluminium. It's expanded aluminium, and it was an invention of Matthias Suller, the transolar. It moves. It can be. I mean, it pivots, and depending on the sun, a bit. Not that much. It's not like a crazy thing. It pivots a little bit in order to really create comfort along the day and the different seasons. Well, yeah, and we have also some. Well, I'm going to pass to the next. Yeah, I cannot read, but here is how you can appreciate the scale. The entrance is not only in the corridors that crisscross the building, but also in front in every corner, and you have some balconies. Obviously, it's very transparent, and commercial areas down, up, but the main space is the cultural factory, and it has a gesture. It has this gesture of creating a kind of huge balcony that can, and there is a scenario down in the park, so you can have many connections among the park, the library, etc., etc. These are the pergolas. It's wood, steel, and photovoltaics. They are very simple. They give shadow, and they really create a kind of sense of scale. No? While the rest is really big, these are like conventional and could be in a park in Spain. I mean, they don't need to be monumental at all. So all these elements, you see in the columns in the upper section that create this form. They come from the juncos, which is the way the books were invented in China, have come to us nowadays. I mean, so the whole idea was that the cultural factory had to have in some moment a kind of symbol of the Chinese authority about books, no? In history. No? They liked it a lot, by the way. And well, this is our sections. I'm not going to try to bore you with details. Let's go to the most interesting. This is the roof. And this is a kind of bioclimatic roof, very carefully designed with the engineers that we were working with. But it is an homage to Fisac in reality. Those of you that know who is Fisac will see immediately the huesos, no? The bones that he invented in concrete, this kind of V-shape cover that we transform a little bit. It has a bigger side to the south than to the north. The side of the south has photovoltaic cells. The north one has ventilation, natural ventilation. And the beam, the structure is a composite of wood and steel. Wood and steel. The rounded, the circular shape is steel that collects the water, and also the V shape is steel, so it creates a beam. And you can, with this form, you can establish a place that has always natural light from the north and natural ventilation, and as you will see now, you don't see, it doesn't want to go. Aha. It's super simple, but this is what makes it for us quite interesting, and they were really surprised. And, we have the pilotis go down into the earth, like 20, I don't remember the meters that they have to go till the earth is at 17 degrees, practically the whole year. So they are connected with the photovoltaics, and they create a system that, well, seen as at 10 meters, it is stabilized 17 Celsius degrees. Boreholes are commonly filled with a bentonite root surrounding the pipes to provide a geothermal connection to the surrounding soil and to improve the heat transfer. In heating mode, which is very strange, the ground energy is transferred into a heat pump which supplies radiant system in the floor. In cooling mode, since the ground temperature is almost similar than the radiant system supplies side temperature, the reversible heat pump is bypassed. The system operates then in free cooling, it's a free cooling system. So this means that the whole structure has the responsibility of the comfort of the whole place. Controls the temperature, controls the light. There is practically no heat gains for light because we have natural light, etc. So these were, I mean, there was a surprise for them because we studied our enemies. Our enemies were like, well, MVRDV and so Snoeta, Larsen Hinninger, and Urbasus. I think five studios, all well known. And we studied the last libraries they have made, and we thought they were horrible, honestly. This is a library, I mean, I respect this I mean, they are good friends, but they created a fake library, you know, that created this thing. And all these things is inaccessible, it's just for Instagram. It's a library made for Instagram. You know? And it's bland, it's soft shape, you know. So, and the Snoeta, well, I don't know if you see, but it's very similar. It's a kind of mesh of geometries and light, and that's it. No? So we decided it was a kind of very basic principle. It has to be square, and it has to be rational. No? So there no country can accept more libraries like this, spending a lot of money for these things. So this is what we were basically proposing. 3 buildings that are connected and interconnected in different floors, down and in the earth, up there, and a space, a central space. Well, maybe you see this better, and you see how the Pentagon has like different levels. It's a kind of stair, a giant stair that creates different series of spaces. No? Well, I don't want to enter into details. Well, you can see, this is an example. It's the only example I have brought. Cafe, cinema, literature laboratory, bookshops, balconies, storytelling, newspapers, familiar library, music and videos, working area, kids area, etc., etc. No? So it's a place that is conditioned naturally, and at the same time has a kind of diversity of environments, and this is the image of the environment inside. All the last part of the paragraph is very important. All the construction technical systems will be produced integrally in Dongguan. We were studying which materials they really are experts and they like and are cheap there, etc., etc. So it was for us important to say that we knew that it had to be like this. And this is the effect of the space. And this is the inside the library, square, super square. with this beautiful system invented by a Spanish architect, by the way, Holdeck, that can really compete in terms of decarbonization with wood. It's an amazing invention. The Holdeck is having holes everywhere that where you can put a hole in concrete. It's like this. The scaffolding system has these pieces of, and you have all these. It's a kind of triangular shape made in concrete. And in terms of construction, in terms of embodied, comparing the embodied carbon with, if you see the lower diagram, Holdeck is the lower, is less than CLT. There are two systems depending on the span, the dimension of the structure. And then the composite, the sandwich panel, the post-tension, the precast, the reinforced concrete, all of them. So it's an amazing invention that now is beginning to be known, but is made by an ex-student of this of our office. I mean, working in our office. He has a kind of incredible mind, and this is more or less the image that we were trying to create. You know? In the different environments, this is the environment that is the spiral, the other is the square, and the other is more central. No? This is the most important part, and they really appreciated the rationality and at the same time the monumentality. It's very traditional. I mean, it's the archetype of the library, no? And then, yeah, I'm beginning to finish. Don't worry. The forest. The forest. Well, we drew it in one night. I mean, we don't care about what it is. It was not important to design it in detail. The thing is that we wanted to create a kind of forest that creates shadows and that spaces for children. They are close to the neighborhood where are the residential units. And they have below this part, you have the more commercial areas and the car park, and well, all the elements that we have to put together. So the site plan, this is, I think, is the basic scheme. Everything tries to be located in the best place and easy to organize and easy to use. No? So the shopping mall, the mall created under the forest, has this big span, and it's very multi-use. It's thought to have restaurants, to have commercial, to have pharmacies, to have everything for the neighborhood. But at the same time, we wanted places for children. These bubbles there, you don't see very well them. The green bubbles is a kind of place for children to enjoy and to have a kind of controlled environment. You see it here. It's very simple, very simple. And it has natural light. All the green stuff is natural light. And these are the views of the forest, with the cultural factory and the sailing tower. And looking to the other side is the science museum, which is the lantern or the lighthouse, depending on which kind of metaphor do you want to use. And there is also, yes, I'm finishing. This thing is almost stupid, but very important. We understood that the love for the traditional sailing boats, the Chinese traditional sailing boats of the people that were in the jury was really important. No? So we decided to create a kind of little port, protected with barriers, etc., to have a kind of touristic opportunity to be just floating in the sea in a little. But it's a kind of touristic thing. They like it a lot. That. and well, but they wanted, especially the mayor I was obsessed with the icon. The icon is these two volumes, strange volumes that are there. So we began. I mean, I'm from Donosti, so I have a lot of relationship with the sea, and I love the family. I mean, I know quite well them, and I love this thing that we have in San Sebastian, and these shapes that are like some kind of frame for the vision of the sea. No? And then we began to study seriously the organization, the structure. This is Hong Kong, with some sailing boats that are replicas of the sailing boats that are doing this kind of touristic tours. No? So this is the image that we began to think about. No? The sun is always oriented to the south, so it's just a frame in the sun in front of the sea. No? And began to work with some analogies. I mean, they need these metaphors. I mean, it's not like they are. I mean, in Europe, especially, let's say, north of Europe, metaphors are like ugly. No? People want abstraction, no? But they want a kind of clues that leave them relate with other things. No? The structures, building structures with other kind of traditions. Well, anyway, this we began to test the volume, the height, and the geometry of a possible construction that could mimic like the position of the wings of the boats, etc., etc. No? And this was one first attempt. When we made this first attempt, we thought in creating a kind of model. This is the hand. No? This looks to the south. This is the space. The icon is two different volumes creating a frame to look at the sea. No? And it's a very bad drawing made in the last minute of a night of work, but we knew that it was our shape. And so we made a model and created, several models to really create something that could be seen could be read as a metaphor of the waves of the sailing boats, of the city, the way it looks, and the typhoons, how it defends from the typhoons, etc. And we discovered after doing all this that the materiality had to be completely different. I mean, seriously, I mean, you are against typhoons, you are against wind, you are against hot weather. So it needed to be exactly like the Moneo, completely enclosed and molded glass. I mean, it was, I mean, by the way, I was born in this house. so I had it in front of me all my life, no? it's almost a joke, no? And yeah, I mean, this is the section that we made. It's the same, it's a kind of translation, no? That has different theater. Well, it has like three elements, no? Multifunctional parts, and then it has a part that is dedicated to art, and another one that is dedicated to operas and theaters. Oh, you don't see anything here, I think. Anyway, these are, we were testing in a laboratory in France, different corrugation of the glass, molded glass, no? to show that we were serious about this, no? The different techniques. It can have a lot of variations and can be really interesting. So it's and this was one of the first images that we were able to produce that they began to like, and they could accept that this was a metaphor of a sailing boat, which was really the problem. Enough metaphoric, you know. Was and this is another. I mean, here we have the boat, the icon, the pergola, the tower, and the sea. And this is let's say the frontal view of the icon with the tower and the library. And we have only just one thing, the lantern that came from here. At the beginning, it was just here, and it was double size, and we just decided that it had to be more dedicated to children, technology for children, so to speak, and made it easy to deal with it. And well, I mean, this is the geometry and the shape. These are pergolas that are giant for restaurants, matrimonies, celebrations, etc. And well, the vision at night. The material, STFE, is an incredible material that I didn't know that is brutal in terms of the light transmission, flexible shapes, structural sunglass effect, and lightweight. No, it's structural transparent fluorinated envelope. And these are like these rhombus are like 18 meters. So it spans, and it's an amazing thing that they have been working on in the last. And this is the image of this. Instead of in the middle, we move it here, reduce the size, and it's located in the place where the sea becomes the river, no? And it's seen from the other side. And it was a kind of wonderful movement. I think it was the last one and the one that they really were super happy with this. So because it had all that they were asking for. And this is it. I mean, this is, you see, here is the only slide that I have brought with all the surface of the 2 million inhabitants place for the next generations. Well, the end is sad in the sense that we have won, we have had to pass like 3 important exams. We are very happy to leave down SNOETA and MVRDP. I mean, just to compare, I mean, we are 12 in the office. SNOETA has only in Hong Kong 250 people. So you understand now why we were happy. And David and Goliath. No? And the same happens with MVRDV. They didn't. I mean, they couldn't understand what they were asking. The client was asking, and we are now. Urbasus is out also. Urbasus is a studio in Hong Kong also that is. I mean, you look at the work of them, and it looks like Catalan work. I mean, it's very Mediterranean, very elegant, but they didn't have the kind of drama or symbolism that they were asking for. So we have Henny Larsen and us, and they have this. They decided that both of them were nice, and they are in this moment they are discussing how they can be combined both. It will be a disaster. You know, when you try to. I mean, it was. Frankly, it's not easy. I mean, obviously, we have studied. We didn't want to enter in contact with them. They haven't entered in contact with us because we want to. We are waiting for one phrase from the owner. I mean, the one that will decide. No, if he is able to say us, I like this, I don't like that, we immediately can work together. I'm sure. Because we are not stupid, no? But if there is nothing, what the hell you can do, no? I mean, this is waiting, no? And this is what we are doing now. Yeah. So here is with this image, I will finish my lecture. I think that you try to make you enjoy and to see that at least there are countries where big scales are treated carefully, and they really respect traditions. They want innovation, they want construction, they want some symbolic role for the architecture, and not just square meters. Thank you very much. I don't know if you are going to ask things or whatever. ¿O podemos hacerlo en español? Por ejemplo. Sí, una.
Bastante, pero no sé si con los matices suficientes, que el rol del arquitecto allí no tiene toda la responsabilidad, ¿no? Como la tenemos aquí en nuestro país, ¿no? Sobre el conjunto de lo que se hace. Entiendo que hay ingenieros de estructuras, ingenieros de instalaciones y tal, ¿no? Y bueno, te quería preguntar un poco cómo es trabajar así, porque has hablado del arquitecto casi como un consultor, pero entiendo que es como el principal, ¿no? ¿Cómo mantiene la autoría, la paternidad, el control sobre todo eso? O sea, ¿cómo es trabajar de esa otra manera, ¿no? Con estos otros
Pues vamos a ver.
agentes.
En general las ingenierías son grandísimas. O sea, las ingenierías son de 1000 personas o así. O sea, es decir, que la de Tonji, que es con la que nosotros trabajamos, son 2000. Y están organizados casi militarmente. O sea, hay un jefazo que lleva una sección, cada uno de los de la sección lleva 7 u 8 personas. O sea, está todo muy, muy militarmente organizado, que quiere decir muy eficientemente. Entonces, tú puedes, o sea, cuando el cliente hace un concurso, el proyecto sirve para que el cliente tenga un primer brochure de los costes del edificio y del tiempo de que se va, o sea, de los tiempos, costes, problemas que ve en la ingeniería, etcétera, etcétera. Entonces puede que pase, pero es muy serio. O sea, es decir, lo primero es que tú tienes que darle el visto bueno, que el diseño está respetado. Eso aquí en España no existe ni de lejos. O sea, por lo tanto, si tienes o sea, si hay tanta preocupación por el rol del diseño, pues tú tienes no digo una autoridad así como fascista, ¿no? Pero tienes una autoridad sobre lo que tú sabes, ¿no? Y si hay que cambiar algo porque es racional lo que dicen, como no somos tontos tampoco, pues vale, pues no se negocia, se hacen unos nuevos dibujos, esos nuevos dibujos los paga la ingeniería. O sea, está todo organizado de una forma que no es ideal tampoco, pues siempre hay algún imbécil, ¿no? Como en todas partes, no sé, pero es mucho mejor que lo que tenemos en España, sinceramente. Y es más eficiente, o sea, digamos que te obligan a llevarte bien, por así decir. Y realmente no es difícil, ¿no? No es difícil porque les encanta el diseño y ven que tú no eres un tarugo, o sea, tú que sabes, has ganado un concurso internacional y tal, te respetan. En España da lo mismo que hayas ganado lo que sea. Y funciona a pasos sucesivos con una cierta normalidad. Tienes visitas de obra. No muchas, o sea, como a cada 3, 4 meses o así, es lo normal. Si vives allí, no, puedes ir, pero una vez al mes o una vez cada 2 meses van los arquitectos, ¿no? Más bien de paseo, para resolver detalles por si acaso hay algún problema y tal. Y bueno, funcionan, a mí me parece que es un sistema infinitamente más eficiente en costos, en tiempos, en calidad de obra, etcétera. Y si te animas a empezar a bucear en páginas chinas, etcétera, verás que el nivel de la arquitectura es alucinante. Yo creo que es la mejor arquitectura del mundo. O sea, dan 1000 vueltas a los americanos, ¿no? Es decir, pero 1000 vueltas, ¿no? Lo digo con toda... O sea, este Liu Yisun es un mago, ¿eh? Aquí estaba enfermo el pobre, no lo he dicho, estaba hecho una mierda y tenía un papel mínimo, ¿no? Pero es un grandísimo arquitecto, ¿no? Y bueno, pues esto es lo que así funciona. Funciona con trabajo. O sea, se trabaja, pero se trabaja de verdad en lo que tienes que trabajar, no en persuadir por enésima vez al cliente o esto, o sea, sino simplemente en que los diálogos sean productivos. Y se puede trabajar a distancia. Casi todo lo hemos hecho pues o por mail o por WeChat y ya está. ¿Cómo? O sea, el tema burocrático que nos toca a nosotros en los edificios y en las urbanizaciones, hemos hecho como 10 cosas construidas y acabadas allí. Es menor que el de un chalet en España. Sí, hay que hacer algo, ¿no? Pero bueno, lo haces y ya está, ¿no? Por eso se están comiendo el mundo, claro. Están bien organizaditos. ¿Más preguntas? Os he dejado chafaos. Sí, no, y tienen más facilidad para organizarse, o sea, son más militares, ¿no? Es decir, que aquí en España cada uno es un mundo, ¿no? Entonces es un lío, en Latinoamérica también, ¿no? Allí pues aceptan su rol y los límites que tiene su rol y ya está. Entonces se funciona no es perfecto tampoco, pero se funciona razonablemente bien y a distancia, ¿eh? Que es mucho más difícil, ¿eh? Y no mucho. No mucho, es que porque se discute, o sea, realmente porque se discute y se hacen alternativas y tal. Sí, se hace, si hay que hacerlo rápido, lo hacen rápido, pero entonces lo hacen mal y ellos saben que sale mal, claro. Un teatro hecho rápidamente, pues es una mierda. No lo saben. Muchas gracias por vuestra atención. Espero que os haya gustado. Ah, sí, claro.
Bueno, muchas gracias, Iñaki.
¿Yo con dónde tengo que ubicarme?
Aquí mismo.
Vale.
Bueno, para terminar este acto, pues vamos a dar we are going to give the Students Event Award, que este año pues tenemos el patrocinio de Newker. Y bueno, hemos decidido el jurado pues lo que le ha pasado a Iñaki en China, y es que van a ganar 2. Efectivamente. Bueno, pues una vez revisado el acta del jurado, pues queremos que se acerquen al escenario Eva Alarcón, Ana Flensborg, Sofía Payá y Carmen Oncina, Irene Pardo y David Ródenas. Tenemos aquí delante, si queréis, si sacamos una foto. ¿Dónde? Nacho, aquí debajo, arriba, para hacer la foto, ¿cómo lo hacemos mejor? Sí, aquí arriba, subid aquí arriba.
Subir aquí arriba.
Sí. Por aquí, por aquí.
¿Cuántos equipos son?
Son 2 equipos.
¿Qué hacemos? ¿Ya?
Muy bien. Bueno, oye, una cosa. Iñaki Ábalos ha dicho que ha vuelto a un edificio que él dio un premio. Aviso. ¿Eh? Esto puede ser el inicio de una carrera prometedora. Muy bien. Ahora ya bueno, aquí fuera tenemos preparado un vino. Muchas gracias a todos y nos gustaría que todos los que participáis aquí en el fotocall que tenemos a la derecha, pues hiciéramos una foto de familia. Muchas gracias.